I'm Henry Orlowski. I was born in 1944 in Uzbekistan in a labor camp. They lived in Lodz, Poland. Once the Germans came in, then a lot of the parents told the young adults, try to save yourself. After they saw all the atrocities that were happening, they started moving them to ghettos. So my parents decided to sneak through Poland and then sneak through the border. And they were successful in doing it. When they were in Russia, or I should say Soviet Union at that time, they did find a place to live. They were living with somebody. And my father was a tailor, so he was able to make some money, make a life for a little bit. And then somebody pointed them out, so they took them and sent them to a labor camp in the woods. My father broke his collarbone over there. I think he was carrying a tree or something, and he just broke his collar. They went through different diseases, malaria and stuff like that. And then they moved them. At that point, they moved them to a labor camp in Uzbekistan. When they were in that labor camp, my mother did deliver a baby who would have been my brother. After a couple of days, everything seemed to be okay. The baby was okay. They came to her and said, the baby died. And she just accepted it. There's not much she can do about that, right? And then she found out from others that they did the same thing to some other people. That was like 2-3 years before I was born. So luckily I was allowed to stay alive or stay with my parents. And the life was even tough over there in the camps, because I know my mother tells me there was shortage of food also. My mother tells me I've been eating the walls over there. What type of memories some of them had. I just found out recently from my cousin, when the Nazis came and put them in the ghettos, they separated the men and women. And then with the men, what they did, they separated them also. Under 16, you go one way, older one goes to the right. And they were like in a big place, and they were just having fun with those men, having them run up the stairs, go down the stairs, and if they didn't do it fast enough, they would beat them. And the last time he saw his father over there, he saw his father bleeding. And then they pushed him out of there, and that's the last time he saw his father. When we got back to Poland, we found out my mother's father is one of those that made it, right? He took all the orphans from that ghetto, from Lodz ghetto, he took them to Israel or Palestine. So I didn't see him when we got back. I did see my grandmother, but she was already all set, and it was approved she was going to go there too. But the Iron Curtain went down, Soviet Union closed it up, we couldn't leave. So we stayed in Poland for 10 years until they let us leave Poland. For me, it was a little tougher because there was anti-Semitism. My parents didn't feel it as much, but kids could be pretty mean. One time I was walking on a street, going home, and there was a soccer game. There were kids playing like maybe 200 feet away, and then one of them yelled out, "Hey, there goes a Jew, let's get him." And the game stopped, everybody started running, and I was fast enough, was able to get home before they got me. But wherever I would go, somehow that's how the kids were. And then when I got to Israel, after that, when they let us leave, then felt like home. Still had fights, kids fight, but it wasn't for that reason. 1957, I was 12. This uncle that survived Auschwitz, he was here, and because of him, we were able to come here. My father came here first, and he had to settle himself, become independent before the rest of the family could come. So half a year later, we were able to come. My mother, myself, and my sister. We did pass by the Statue of Liberty, and said, "This is America." And America did, my parents were able to make a living. I got a good education here, and hopefully I contributed to this country also. And still trying to contribute by substituting in high school. But I'm here alive and enjoying life. You gotta go forwards. You don't want to forget the past, but you gotta go forwards.